This year, I did a lot of random stuff, including making a new series, the Today I series. And I'd like to make it a bit of a tradition where we put out a compilation video. And I don't just want to grab the most popular videos and smash them together. You can just go to my short page and sort by most popular if that's what you're looking for. I'd like to use this as a chance to show off some of my favorites, some that might have been very important to me or the channel, maybe ones that I feel just deserve a little more love, you know? YouTube algorithm can't push everything, right? This is also the perfect chance for me to give you guys follow-ups. For example, if you were wondering, man, Zach did a pretty not great job at repairing his belt that one time. I wonder what it looks like now. Now I can tell you. It's fine, by the way. The belt is fine. How dare you not believe in my craftsmanship? Not every one of them is going to have a follow-up, but you get the gist of it. So I think we're just going to start and go in release order, because that just feels right. Today I upgraded my Dew storage box. Some of you may not know this, but when we review a Mountain Dew, we actually buy 2 of every single one of them, and we've been doing this in preparation for a huge video for later, but we've needed a new way to store them. We have just been using this simple plastic tote, but we're quickly outgrowing it. Also, we realized that the tote, for some reason, is putting some very strange pressure on some of these cans, so we needed to find a solution. I also don't want to spend any more money. Like, we've already bought all of these, and we're not keeping these forever. We will consume them, so I don't want to go buy any, like, fancy custom containers. Thankfully, after looking around, I did find this old monitor box, and after some quick napkin math, figured out it could hold quite a few and it would keep pressure off cans. So I chopped the side of the box off, flipped it over, cut some dividers, put some bubble wrap down, and it will work perfect for now. So what do you guys think? Smart? Stupid? I think it's pretty good, but maybe you have a better idea. And if you do, please let us know, because we have so many more dues to collect. Update. It was a great try, guys, but we've already maxed it out again. As you can see, there are more cardboard boxes here full of Dew, and unfortunately, we're only at about 75, so we'd like to hit at least 100 before the next big video, so I guess I'm gonna have to grab more cardboard boxes and find a spot to put them. Today I made a DS game display riser thing. So Nintendo DS and 3DS games are half-height cases. You know, they're pretty close to your typical, like, CD jewel cases. And while these cheap Walmart bookshelves are great and they have tons of room, there's a lot of wasted space when you're trying to shelve these things. But they are pretty deep, so I thought, why not just take a cardboard box or something, paint it black, and just have 2 rows of games. So that's exactly what I did. I cleaned up an old Amazon box, thought about spray painting it, but I figured with enough time and heat, the paint might bleed onto the cases, so instead I just used some black duct tape to match the shelf, and finally reorganized it, put all the games back. I think it turned out pretty well. It uses more of the space that would have been wasted, gives me easy access to all my games, but maybe you've got a better idea. What do you guys think? Today I finally got Minecraft 3DS Edition. Quite possibly one of the weirdest versions of this game. It doesn't run super well, it has a very low chunk distance, the controls are a bit clunky, and it likes to crash, but there's just something so charming about it. Content-wise, I'd say it's pretty close to the 1.12 update. You can only generate finite worlds, and there's a build height of 128 blocks. It is multiplayer, but only for 2 players at a time. Honestly, having the second screen is great because there's always a map showing, and it even includes the Mario Mashup Pack, which gives you a handful of skins and a pre-made Mario-themed world for you to play in. It's definitely not for everyone, especially if you're used to pretty much any other version. But like I said, there's just some kind of charm to playing a simple version of Minecraft on my new Nintendo 3DS. Update, this video has recently gone over 100,000 views. First of all, thank you. I'm glad that everybody's enjoying it. Second of all, thank you for all of you who've been posting those, like, heartfelt stories of you, like, playing Minecraft as a kid. It's really nice to see that in a YouTube comment section. But stop it, because you're making me feel old. Minecraft's not that old. I'm not old! Today I fixed a light fixture. So we've had this light in the back room that just doesn't turn on anymore. I don't know why, it was broke before I moved back into the house, so we're gonna try to fix it. After taking it off the wall, the problem was obvious. It wasn't plugged in. It looks like whoever opened this last time didn't put it back correctly, and because of how the mechanism works, if you pull the chain enough, it actually rips the wires right out of the box. Thankfully, that means this should be an easy fix. First, I turned off power to the house, googled which wires go into which socket, because, like, I don't know that off the top of my head, I'm not an electrician. Put it all back together, mounted it to the wall, turned the power back on, and now let's try it out. And would you look at that? It works. Now we can actually see back here while doing laundry or grabbing food. And thankfully, this was a pretty easy fix. Today I repaired my computer chair. I've owned this chair for almost 10 years now, which is surprising because I've never had to replace anything on it. Until today. The gas cylinder finally gave up. The chair don't go up or down no more, and it's leaking oil all over the place. So after a few Google searches, some rough measurements, and nearly an hour of trying to get this thing apart, I was able to figure out what I needed, order the replacement, and now it's here. I went ahead and cleaned the wheels the best I could since it was already apart anyways. I slotted all the parts back in place, sat on the chair to help connect it all, and we're done. Yeah, this was a super easy fix. Honestly, I'd say the hardest part was just disassembling the chair. But hey, hopefully this one lasts me just as long as the previous one, and if not, I'll know it's an easy fix. Today I got an old TV. So occasionally I like to work on computers and fix up old game consoles. And I do it enough that having a spare monitor is nice, that way I don't have to disconnect and move my main ones. And I got this monitor for free a while ago, but it's pretty beat up, it's got dead insects in it, and it leaks. I don't even know how a monitor can leak, but this one does. So into the dumpster it goes, because I got my hands on a new one. It's 15 inches across, 720p, has VGA, HDMI component, and composite ports, and it's light and small enough to move around. It is exactly what I needed. Yeah, it's not top of the line or anything, but I just needed a screen to plug things into and check if they're running properly. But hey, maybe you guys know a better solution. Maybe like an actual monitor that has higher resolution, a faster frame rate, still has all these connectors. If you do, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to look into that. But until then, I think this one's gonna work perfectly fine. Update, but not about the TV. The TV is over here in the corner. It works perfectly fine, no issues. This update is actually about my desk setup. It's in another room now, isn't that neat? I've been trying a ton of different configurations with monitors, and I needed to move the desk into this room to be able to mount them to the wall, because in the other room, it was in front of a window, so it wouldn't have worked. But maybe I'll make one next year when things are a little bit more permanent. Today I modded my Nintendo Switch. Update. I cannot show you the rest of this video. So about a week ago, I got a DMCA takedown strike. On today, I modded my Nintendo Switch. And yeah, the video's gone. It really sucks. When I sat down and scripted and recorded this video, I did it in such a way where I was pretty sure I wouldn't get the wrath of Nintendo down my throat. But it doesn't matter. So this was my channel's best performing video at like 199,000 views. It was this close. One more day would have pushed it over the 200K mark, which may not be a lot for some channels, but for me that's huge. That is my best video. So it really sucks to get it taken down, but like I knew what I was getting into. It's a modding video. It doesn't matter if I'm legally in the right or not. Nintendo can choose to take down whatever they want. That's how YouTube's DMCA system works. So that's what it is. Today I shortened my belt. So recently I got a new belt, just a cheap one from Walmart. It'll do the job. Or it would do the job if it wasn't too big. Now you see, the simple solution here would just be to take it back and get a different one. But I was an idiot and threw away all the tags before trying it on, so now I'm stuck with it. But that's okay. I've watched a couple leatherworking TikToks before, so I got a plan. Usually they use a blade and strike it with a mallet to make big cuts, so I'm gonna try to recreate that with this putty knife and a common hammer. Yeah, that went about as well as you think it would, so instead I just marked it and cut it with a knife. Next I struggled for like 30 minutes sewing at the end, so hopefully it doesn't fray. And I think they have special glue that you apply to the ends, but like, kinda looks like Elmer's glue, and that's all I got, so that's what I'm gonna use. Now I might not be a leather worker, but I think this turned out pretty well, and from a distance, I don't think anybody's gonna notice. But what do you guys think? Did I do a half-decent job? Update, like I said earlier, the belt is perfectly fine. It's a little frayed from where we tied the giant knot, and there is a little bit of fraying going on the outside, but like, it's a Walmart belt. I kind of expected that would happen. But it works perfectly fine, so I would say still a success. Today I got 8BitDo's SN30 Pro Controller. So about a year ago, I picked up the SN30 Pro Plus, which is basically the big brother version of this controller, and I love it. Genuinely one of the best controllers I think I've ever used. So when I found out there was an even smaller version of it that looked just like a Super Nintendo controller, I had to try it. I was able to find one at a cheap price, I went ahead and got it, and I am not disappointed. It feels great. Buttons are clicky, sticks are smooth, the whole thing feels very well built. The fact that it doesn't have handles or analog triggers might be a downside depending on what you're playing, and I think I would still prefer the Plus model, but it's still a solid controller, the battery lasts forever, it can connect to a ton of different devices, and you can slide it in almost any bag for on-the-go gaming. I'm satisfied with my purchase, and I know it'll get a ton of use, but what do you guys think? Would you use a controller like this? Today I gave my friend a custom gaming PC. So I've got this friend who's been borrowing a computer from me to play games, because his old little laptop just can't keep up anymore. But even the computer I gave him is struggling, so today we're gonna fix that. Another one of my friends recently got an upgrade and didn't need their old parts anymore, so we're gonna reuse some of those for this project. The new case, motherboard, i7 processor, and 16 gigs of RAM will go great with the 2 hard drives and power supply that he's already using. And for the graphics card, 2 other friends actually pulled their money together to help him upgrade from a GTX 950 to a 1650 Super. It's not the newest or beefiest GPU, but it'll be perfect for the games he wants to play. All that's left is to fix up the case, swap all the parts around, and now he's ready to go with a brand new gaming computer. And yes, I am just gonna give it to him. It's all his now. Update, the computer still works perfectly fine, but if I had to do one thing different, it would be how I mounted the feet to the case. So the original computer case had these like handle feet things, but they were made of this weird plastic that kind of just disintegrated and then became slimy over time. So I just got rid of those, cut out some wood blocks, painted them, and then used command strips to attach them to the bottom of the case. Would not recommend using command strips to attach feet to a case. The feet fall off all the time. What I should have done was disassemble the case, drill 4 holes, properly screw the feet in, and then reassemble everything. And I will probably have to do that at some point, unless he is okay with just dealing with that. Today I completed Sonic and the Fallen Star. This is a 2D Sonic fan game that released last year during Sage. It's a yearly event where people mainly show off Sonic fan games. And this one stuck out to me, so I finally decided to try it. You can play as Sonic or Tails, there's 9 vibrant levels, several animated cutscenes, and not 1, but 2 soundtracks to choose from. Music's always been a big part of Sonic games, and while both give the game a different vibe, both of them are great. The art style is incredibly bouncy, from the intro to the in-game sprites, and especially the cutscenes. Not sure if I'm the biggest fan of it, but it definitely helps the game stand out. And while the levels are pretty short, I think they're well designed and fun to play through. I actually had some trouble with some of the bosses and special stages, so it was a good challenge. The game's good enough that I spent the time to beat it as both characters, so if you like old 2D Sonic stuff, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Today I hung a stuffed animal net. So like most people who are into games and anime, I got some plushies laying around. Mario, Pikachu, Minecraft, a random platypus. Harry the platypus! And while I enjoy having these little guys, they're taking up a lot of room and I don't have a great spot to put them. Thankfully, they make this thing called a stuffed animal net. It's basically a little hammock that you hang from your wall that you put stuffed animals in. I didn't even know these things existed until I mentioned my problem to my mother and she picked one up for me. Thanks, Mom. So I dusted off the walls, measured and marked everything, drilled some holes, put up the net, and added the plushies. This was a super cheap and simple solution to the problem, and now I can enjoy having them while also not having a bunch of space wasted. I think it looks pretty good. I'll probably rearrange them a little bit, but what do you guys think? Update. She's still holding. Now, unfortunately, I will have to move the net. A problem that I couldn't have known while mounting a net for the first time is that back right hook is too high up, because right now, the animals are sitting in there kind of like this, and it kind of wants to push them out. So instead, we need to lower the back hook so it kind of evens it out a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to, put pictures on this side of the wall anyways, so when I get to that, I'll get to this. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching these shorts, and especially if you left feedback on them or comments or just told a story or something, I do appreciate it. I try to read them. I do plan on leaning into the Today I series a little harder this upcoming year, so get ready to see me do a bunch of wacky stuff. One last thing is I'd like to show you guys one more short. It's not a Today I video, but it might as well it be. That being the Guitar Hero controller video. The success of this video is kind of what gave me the confidence to start the Today I series, just doing really random stuff in front of a camera. And if I made the video today, it would absolutely start with something like, today I custom painted my Guitar Hero controller. And let's just get the update out of the way now. She still looks great. I love how it turned out. The only downside right now is that it's really dirty, so I get a little sweaty and heated when I play Clone Hero, but that's it. Still pretty good. So recently I decided to repaint my Guitar Hero controller. Why? Because that plain silver paint job that I did in high school is really starting to show its age. So the first thing we need to do is detach the faceplate, clean it off, and apply some paint stripper. After letting that set for a bit, we're going to scrape off some of the paint and clean up with a few rounds of turpentine. Now I figured that there was another coat of black paint underneath because it was still super gooey, but after some research it turns out the paint stripper I was using was just melting the plastic. Lesson learned, so I washed it off and got to sanding. After about an hour of that, I put down a few primer coats and started on a design. I eventually landed on a hot pink sunburst design as I thought it would work really well with the black body of the guitar, and I just liked the color pink. Now begins the montage of spraying paint, sanding every few coats, finessing a sunburst, and finishing it up with a glossy clear enamel. Now I did have some trouble painting the sides, and there is some small defects, but for not touching spray paint in a while, I think I did pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and like the video if you want to see more of my projects.